Hey, it's Benji Cole, son of Al Cole from CBS Radio and host of People of Distinction, the talk that gives an in-depth view of some of the most dynamic, intelligent, and successful people on the planet. Run to our website, peopleofdistinction.org for more info, or you can always email me directly at benji@alcoleenterprises.com. And on the line with us today, we have Chuck Miller. We're going to be discussing his amazing book, Plan to Profit, Business Planning for Builders and Remodelers. Now, it's available for purchase through Amazon as well as barnesandnoble.com, but people check out his personal sites as well. There's two of them I'm going to list for you. The first one is chuckmiller-author.com, followed by chuckmillerconsulting.com, both of which are valuable resources to figure out more information on Chuck himself, find out more information on this fantastic narrative, as well as find the hyperlink set up to take you to the purchasing pages. So one more time, that's chuckmiller-author.com and chuckmillerconsulting.com. And before we go any further, I do want to take this opportunity and point out that he was brought to our network by one of the best advertising firms in the business. And people, you already know I'm talking about Quipper Prints. So listen to me. If you're a writer out there, you've written a book, and now you find yourself at what seems like a dead end because, well, now you need help moving the book you just written. Well, I'm going to give you some fantastic advice, okay? Contact Quipper Prints. I'm telling you, they're one of the best in the business to do it, and frankly, this is what they specialize in. Head on over to quipperprints.com today and gather all of the ways that their fantastic team is going to help maximize your creative endeavors. And listen, it is a true pleasure to have Chuck here on the line. Now, listen, right there in the title, you have an idea of the discussion we're getting ready to have. And the moment you start to do research, all of those ideas are going to be solidified, okay? This is an educational step-by-step guide, okay? This is a valuable resource for any entrepreneur. Now, the book initially was written for construction workers, right? Entrepreneurs in that construction industry. But take it from Chuck's words himself, the principles that are talked about within this book can be applied to any business, not solely construction. Now, I'm very much looking forward to this. I know you all are as well. And please believe it, we're only going to scratch the surface here today. By the time we're done, you're going to run to Amazon and Barnes & Noble and purchase your copies because you're going to understand how valuable of a resource this book is and why you need to have it on your shelf. And at the end of the day, don't take my word for it. Take Chuck's. It's his book. He's written it. It's his life, and he's lived it. And he's going to be able to articulate it much better than I ever could. Chuck, first and foremost, welcome to People of Distinction. And thank you very much for being a guest. How are you doing today?
And thank you for inviting me, Benji.
Absolutely.
I'm doing great.
Wonderful. Wonderful, Chuck. Listen, the pleasure is all ours, man. I firmly believe that education doesn't stop, right? Whether you're in the classroom or out of the classroom, life always has things to teach you. And this is a fantastic opportunity that you've presented us with. So we're looking forward to this opportunity. Thank you for writing the book. And thank you even more for being a guest with us to discuss it. Now, Chuck, before we go into the words on those pages, let's start a little bit more about yourself. Tell us more about your background, please.
I've been in the construction industry for over 50 years. I started out as an apprentice carpenter in 1968 in Chicago. And I worked my way through college. Went to work for some large general contractors, and then managed some smaller smaller home builders before I started my own company. Having had my own company, I understand the needs and the challenges that are faced by small construction companies. Mm-hmm. And I believe, as we just mentioned, in lifelong learning. To that end, I've earned 11 professional designations from the National Association of Home Builders, of which I'm a member. And I also am a licensed instructor of their courses, which are some of the best courses around for anyone in the home building industry.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason I wrote the book was because of what I had observed in the industry in the last 30 years, say, and it prompted me to do a little research. And as a result of that research, what I discovered is that small businesses in the construction industry have the second highest failure rate of any industry.
Mm.
And the research that I did revealed that, according to the Small Business Development Center, 9 out of 10 of those business failures are caused by a lack of planning and general management skills.
Yeah.
And this was reinforced. One of the roles I've had was as a professional reviewer of complaints against contractors for the Idaho State Contractors Board. And I reviewed a total of 572 complaints. And the one thing that stood out is that a vast majority of those complaints didn't deal with workmanship or problems with the construction. They could have easily been avoided had the contractors been just better businessmen,
Mm-hmm.
better communicators, better at customer service. One thing that in one of our National Association of Home Builder courses, they talk about wearing many hats. And most small construction companies are family-owned businesses with 3 to 5 employees. And so that owner wears a lot of hats, and does a lot of functions within the company. And unfortunately, most of them don't have business plans.
Right.
In fact, a survey of its builder and remodeler members by the National Association of Home Builders revealed that only 12% of their members had written business plans. Now, keep in mind that, in the construction industry, everything is based on plans. You rely on plans in order to prepare budgets, to prepare schedules, to estimate what you're going to need to complete the project, to develop the schedule of what needs to be done when, and to be able to communicate all of that effectively to all the different parties involved, the owners, the customers, the trade contractors, and the suppliers. And so, I started out asking the question, would you build a house or remodel a house without a plan, without a budget, without a schedule? No, you wouldn't. But
Right.
why would you then try to run your company without a written plan, an operating budget, and some type of formal planning procedure? The other thing I observed in the industry was that most builders are what I refer to as product focused. They focus on building what they think the customers want or what they like themselves without doing any research to back that up. And the key to success, in my humble opinion, is market research and analysis.
Mm-hmm.
To quote Peter Drucker, The aim of marketing is to know and understand the customer so well that the product or service fits him and sells itself. And that's when I wrote the outline for my book. That's what I focused on, rather than just using one of the templates that are widely available through the Small Business Administration or through various software programs. My book focuses first on market research. You have to know who your customer is and what they want before you can be successful. I like to say that most builders follow or use the marketing research that I call follow the herd. In other words, they look around, see what everybody else is doing, and then try to copy it. The problem with follow the herd is that if you're at the front of the herd, you're likely to be successful, but if you're at the back of the herd, you're going to fall prey to predators, or at the very least, you're going to step in a lot of dung.
Chuck, thank you very much for all of that information. And people, listen, I'm telling you, this is comprehensive, okay? This is intricate, and we've barely scratched the surface, okay? Amazon and Barnes & Noble are where you have to go. Check out chuckmiller-author.com as well as chuckmillerconsulting.com to gather it all. Okay, you're going to want to get your hands on this fantastic book. Chuck, as we continue on, because listen, it's clear, you have mentioned the awards that you've won, your decades of experience, as well as the research that you've done. So clearly, you know your stuff, okay? So people understand the information found in this book is coming from a knowledgeable place. Well, Chuck, as if my listening audience needs any more of an incentive, we know that your book is a guide. There are a lot of helpful tips in formulating that plan to developing your business. Well, to offer a little bit more of a teaser, can you go into maybe one or two of the tips discussed in the book that our listening audience can really take and run with? And then, of course, people, I said it, Amazon and Barnes & Noble, you want all of the tips. Pick up your copies. But since we have you here on the line, Chuck, please go into a couple of them so we know what to expect.
The book starts out focusing on market research. In order to be successful, you have to identify who your ideal customer is, your target market. Who are they? How many of them are there? What are they buying? And where are they buying? And once you understand that target market, then you can decide what to build, where to build it, how to price it, how to market it, and what kind of a sales process you need to use in order to attract and satisfy your target market. Mm-hmm. Too many builders tend to just, like I said, focus on the product itself. And, we know that the market is constantly changing and buyers' preferences are constantly changing. Right. I mean, look at the difference between houses even that were built 10 years ago versus houses that are built today. And things like working from home, all of those impact the product that the customer is looking for. Mm-hmm. So not only that, but one of the very last chapter in my book is about scheduling a review. As we all know, the best laid plans of mice and men always go awry. And so it's important that you constantly review and focus the plan. Look at what's working, based on your original plan, how it needs to be adjusted because the market has changed. As Winston Churchill said, however beautiful the strategy, you should occasionally look at the results. And again, that's the important part. You need to set short-term goals, medium-term goals, and long-term goals, and then review them. I recommend at least every 6 months to determine what's working, what isn't, and what changes have been brought about in the market that you need to adapt to.
I love that. Listen, people, this is I'm telling you, this is something you're going to want to add to your shelf here. As we start to close out, Chuck, I think it's safe to assume the answer to this next question, but you know what happens when you assume, man, so I'm not going to do that to you. I have you here on the line. We're going to go directly to the source. 2-part question for this next one. First and foremost, who would you say is your intended reader with the book? And 2, what is the main message that you hope that they receive after completing it?
My intended reader, first and foremost, are small volume construction businesses, the ones that are most likely to fail after 5 years. Mm-hmm. And the reason I wrote the book the way that I did was so that they didn't have to reinvent the wheel, that all they had to do is basically apply the outline to their business. The other thing, when I wrote the book, one of my thoughts and my ultimate goal was to create a course based on the book so that I could work with the individuals and help them to write that business plan. Basically, function as an accountability partner, because we all know that left to our own devices, a lot of times we just let things get in the way of our goals and objectives. Yeah. And if you have an accountability partner, it's an additional incentive. It's like the same with exercising and working out. If you have a partner, you're more likely to get up in the morning and go to the gym rather than decide to sleep in, because your partner will be there waiting for you.
There you have it. People, I'm going to say it for you once again. I know I don't have to, because I know the majority of you are like me. You are already heading on over to Amazon and Barnes & Noble. You're getting ready to purchase your copies because you understand how valuable this book is and how great the information is. Well, listen, for those of you still straggling in the back, the title is called Plan to Profit. Business Planning for Builders and Remodelers. Again, Amazon, Barnes & Noble, chuckmiller-author.com, chuckmillerconsulting.com. Head on over to all of them and check it out. And be on the lookout, because Chuck has some other ideas for potential books, so there may be more on the horizon, but I promise you, Plan to Profit is going to do more than enough to hold you in place for this time, because there's so much information that you're going to want to take and you're going to want to be able to really put into place. This is a valuable resource to add to your shelf. I'm going to take it a step further. It's an even better gift to add to someone else's. Head on over there, pick up your copies today. Chuck, this has been an absolute pleasure, a true delight. Thank you once again for being a guest on People of Distinction.
And thank you, Benji, for having me.